Hi, everybody. This is day 1804, and we are just so grateful for the people of El Paso that want to make a difference and have contacted us, and giving us words coming out of the courthouse there. That's really important. That's really important because, that's all taxpayer funded, taxpayer funded, and it's just not working, y'all. It's courthouse chaos in El Paso. It's not working. Um, and they're just for personal gain. They've are monetizing. They're making you pay for their corruption. That's what they're doing. Their criminality. And so we're getting, people are sick and tired of it. And people in Juarez are sick and tired of it. So here we are. Let me make sure that everything is working. And we are at 1,804 days since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss, and his life was taken from him brutally, because he was a whistleblower. He was targeted months before by the disgraced fake news fabricator Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, along with Manny Chavira's A&R Chavira Auto Group. They're all connected there. They're all connected through Alex and Raquel. Um, you just can't make this stuff up. And of course, Manny Chavira is the fake chief of police for the El Paso ISD. And of course, it's the same cartel operators. Willie Moya was executed along with Altaro Alba with the media there in Juarez, but they're all connected to Manny Chavira, to Bob Moore, to Nadal Baim and his wife, um, Isis Chavira, and they're all the indication that they are gearing for some indictments because Western Frontier Trading is suing them, and they seem to have had to quickly end their marriage, even though it's way over 23 years. Um, it seems like some maybe some property they're worried about and stuff like that. But they're all gearing for what's going on because there's so much behind the scenes. And just like getting information out of Washington, D.C., um, it, we're getting information out of the El Paso courthouse. And so I wanted to clarify that yesterday, the information about Montoya's wife, uh, his the mother of his child. Um, it's just like they do everything backwards, don't they? They just do everything backwards. Um, well, she works in the county clerk's office. No, the district clerk's office. Um, it's on their county clerk, but she's also in the district clerk, and she was also with the commissioners. I mean, she's been going through it. It's kind of like Michael Mayella, right? Michael Mayella. But her working with the district clerk is really concerning for us. It makes things even much worse for her, because, um, you know, Montoya has put her. I don't call that love, putting the mother of your child uh, into a position that you have committed a federal felony, right? I don't think that's love when you are risking the mother of your child to 20 years in prison, or even worse, or even worse. You know, I just, I don't know. You tell me. You tell me what you think, but I don't think that's good. And this is just getting worse and worse because with her, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Ameli, Ameli. Please help me. District clerk. Um, I'm a quick learner. I can learn how to pronounce it pretty quickly. But district clerk, that's Judge Medrano's wife, Bernadette Medrano. Okay, so Montoya's wife is working under the Walmart mass shooting judge, most criminal judge in El Paso history. uh, a wife, the wife of the most corrupt judge in El Paso history. Um, and it's the same old of, let's just squeeze as much money out and let's not uh, get to any justice, right? You got to fake that whole case with all the deals. It was so criminal. And now you have a fake prosecutor and his wife, while he reneged on his campaign promise to get the death penalty, he knew all along there was all this conflict of interest because Judge Madrano's wife was his wife's boss. Just really. And that office, the district clerk's office, is the office that illegally allowed access to it, um, to access Richard's file, his picture, the whole Interpol, uh, where they overlaid Dallas Hart's face on top of Richard's. Um, they submitted really a picture of Dallas Hart to the Interpol under Richard's name. So there's a lot of impersonation. There's a lot of fabricating there, and we had to work with Interpol for a while. And then they did their own investigation and they took the picture down because they knew we were right. It was a tampered photo. It wasn't Richard. And they were all kind of laughing at us behind the back for a while until we finally got it figured out that it was a tampered photo, that it was a composite, that it was Dallas Hart, that it was Dallas Hart's face. Forensic um, investigation on the photo matched Dallas Hart's face. So, and they did take it down, but they did that to um, when you have remains in Mexico, they will use the Interpol Interpol pictures for identification. And so now we, have these hundreds and hundreds of um, corpses, um, remains there piled up at this, narco dumping ground in Juarez. And, uh, you know, it seems like they were avoiding, didn't want to do any kind of forensic review on evaluation on any of these uh, individuals that absolutely, when you look at the picture, and we've gotten several pictures, um, that they have signs of trauma on them. Okay. They're, you know, and some were still in uniform. Some were, absolutely still with the blood on them. Um, and what they're supposed to do is when they do a forensic review, they can go to the Interpol database and forensically match the identification of the remains that they have, of the body they have, with that database. So we have gotten information um, that they tampered with the dental that they tampered with the DNA, and now and we know that they tampered with the Interpol picture of Richard that wasn't accurate, right? So you couldn't identify him. Like if you went through an airport, like if Dallas Hart went through an airport, that picture with Richard's name on it, would match Dallas Hart's face, not Richard's. The forensics, you know, um, came back negative for Richard. So that's why Interpol had to take it down. So, um, and it took, that just delays, delays, delays. But that picture came from the district clerk's office. And, you know, our open records and even the duty of Montoya, he should absolutely get to the bottom of all of that. He should have absolutely let all the people know who his wife is, um, during the campaign, during his fake oath of office, because you're supposed to sign the anti-bribery statement of officer before you take the oath of office. And Judge Guadarrama, David Guadarrama, a federal judge that commingled the federal with the state, which is a no-no, right? That's a no-no. But he's the one that gave the oath. Of course, he was the federal judge in the Walmart mass shooting case. That never, it never, even in the state case, ever got a trial date or went to trial, because that would absolutely allow people to look at the evidence, right? And they don't want to look at the evidence. They also blocked, um, is, all indications, all evidence blocked to any kind of identification of Richard in Mexico. Okay. So, they wanted to keep him a John Doe because then you can get NGO USAID money, for the disposal of remains of a John Doe. It's all about getting the last penny for them, right? There's no moral fiber in them at all. And you see that because they do everything backwards and they're just up to no good. And the biggest crime they do is grand theft larceny. There's absolutely grand theft larceny. And, I'm not saying it's the most violent crime that they do, but it leads to all the violence because, they just all do it for personal gain, for a certain lifestyle, for personal gain. And it's really despicable. So this is Ameli and Bernadette, um, uh, not in a good situation, not in a good situation. So, um, we are running a turbo force towards getting our son's remains, and of course, holding those like Leilani Hart, who absolutely needs to be arrested yesterday. Yesterday, there's no doubt at all. Everything is there. They have the obligation even to arrest her because it's so bad, right? It's so bad for everything she confessed to. It's just so bad. So she absolutely needs to be arrested. There's no doubt about it. And a lot of children would be much safer if she was arrested right away. So this is huge news coming out of the chaotic courthouse in El Paso, and we just want to thank everybody for all the paying attention and being alert and understanding that this is the future. This is um, an effort to hold them accountable for not only Richard and our family, but for also El Pasoans and for those that live right across the border in Mexico. Because, purchase funeral homes and, those are cross border, and anyone that lives and El Paso knows that it is a cross-border city. It's an international city, and they cross borders all the time. So, and these businesses that do it, and if you're a funeral business and you can cross borders, then you can transport bodies, especially if you have, and they do, the cooler trucks, right? The cooler trucks, where they can put a bunch of bodies in. We just know that there's a lot of fraud here, and a lot of sacrilege, really a lot of disrespect for the human body, which is also still a crime. Thank God, it's still a major crime. So, Danielle, thank you for coming on with your prayers. Has Interpol ever reached out to your family regarding Richard's case? Well, this was the thing that we had to um, we're very, very grateful to Interpol for take because that was a hard work communicating back and forth with Interpol to prove our point, that the picture that was given to them by law enforcement, right, by the law enforcement, because really it's only law enforcement that um, talks and communicates with Interpol. And so, it just shows you how big this case is, that we were able to communicate with Interpol, and that they found what we were saying so compelling that they did their own investigation and took down the picture. They took down the picture of Richard, and that was a huge victory for us. So thank you, Danielle, for pointing that out. It was just really um, a major step because they confirmed that that picture was a tampered picture. Okay, so that will come in handy in our suits, our cases. So, and that is absolutely what we are going towards. Very close, and like last month, very close. Um, uh, then all of a sudden, uh, we have the release, and I would say it is definitely a release. They absolutely knew that this place was in Juarez, this crematorium, this narco crematorium. They absolutely knew that that was there. There's bodies there that are said to be 5 years old. They knew that was there. They failed to investigate. They failed to hold them, to regulate them, to monitor them. They knew it was going on. Seems like a dumping ground for those that the cartel decided that they needed to, right? So, and it's absolutely implicating all of the officials because their duty is to regulate it, to inspect it, and the information we're getting back from it, they're implicated. They're absolutely implicated, along with Purchase Funeral Homes is implicated in it. It seems like that they were wanting to get dump bodies without a forensic review, without identification. And that's why they have hundreds and hundreds of them. And they can come out and say, oh, we haven't identified them yet, even though they've been there years and years. And Robert, our eldest son, visited the county AG in Juarez, where all the bodies, the unidentified bodies are. And there were over 2,000 of them when they went to go visit them. So, eh, and this is just a terrible, terrible example, or a terrible proof, lots of proofs of the decay of the justice system there in Juarez, Mexico. And that brings up a huge problem because the officials, the ones that are responsible for investigating and doing oversight and regulation and everything, are implicated in this terrible human rights, human human crime. Right? It's just absolutely the worst. Um, and the problem is that Governor Abbott was making agreements with these very individuals that are these narco politicians in Juarez. And what kind of agreements? Border agreements, security agreements, intelligence sharing agreements, intelligence access agreements, and also this agreement to allow Mexican doctors to work in Texas, which is a horrible, all of that needs to be absolutely stopped because look at we have Mario Raskin Ortiz. We have a real cartel problem, y'all, a real cartel problem and a real dead body problem, don't we? And a real uh, oversight, right? Uh, Dissuasive. You're supposed to um, bring your law enforcers out there to dissuade any kind of criminal activity like that. And that's not been happening. And that's why the crimes are getting so bad because they're not, they're implicated. They're part of it. So, that's huge news over and over again that James Montoya's wife is working with Bernadette Medrano, Sam Medrano's wife. That's just crazy in itself. You can see the nepotism all over this everywhere. So we'll see. We're getting word. Lots happening in the background and behind the scenes, and we're not forgotten. But there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen, right? A lot of stuff that needs to happen, and uh, it's just every day is just indication of more things being exposed and being changed for the better. So, thank you so much, everybody. And, hopefully it'll come very soon to El Paso. So, thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Bye bye, everyone.